Welcome back. Before the break, we have been talking about various films produced by, directed by our guest, Ruhi Hamid. Ruhi, one of the films that you made is about immigrants, illegal immigrants, and breaking into Britain. Just a short synopsis of...
It was basically trying to look at what it takes for people leaving either war-torn countries and the journeys they make to come into Britain, really, to seek sanctuary.
This is about one Afghani and one Nigerian.
Yes, African. We were telling the journey of an Afghan migrant, and we didn't just follow one migrant, obviously. We had a presenter, an Afghan reporter, who followed the journey that an Afghan would take, and then we had an African reporter who took the journey that an African migrant would take. So that took us through lots and lots of different countries until that point where will they get across to Britain or not? Because everybody wants to come to Britain. Well, because we didn't follow any particular person, we were really showing how tough it is to get to Britain. Everybody thinks that, oh, we're flooded by migrants, but actually it's Europe who's taking the brunt, in particular countries like Greece and Spain and Italy. That Northern Europe is hardly having to deal with the issue of migrants. But of course, it's very pertinent now with everything that's happened with the Syrian war, with a big crisis of migrants. The numbers are enormous now, and it's a big, big crisis on the same level as the migrants after the Second World War. People,
Let's see one of the clips about the knife crime. Was it in South Africa?
South Africa, yes.
One of the most stunning cities in South Africa. It's also the country's murder capital.
Oh my God, he was stabbed with him right there in front of this little child as well.
I've come to spend a week with the medics whose job it is to patch up the victims.
So you got another stab victim coming through now?
Yeah.
They've popped your lung.
Where's he stabbed? Relax, relax.
Treating up to 100 stab and gunshot patients every weekend.
Many stabs in the back.
16 stab wounds.
I'm gonna need some help if you don't mind helping me.
I want to know what it's like for the junior doctors.
Officially a really bad cog in the wheel.
Do you know where you are? What is this place?
They're saving lives, they're helping people every night, and they're younger than me.
And how they cope with the relentless...
How safe is it to live here, do you think?
When I go to school, I leave early, so I am at risk of being robbed and maybe someone like grabbing me and raping me in the morning or something. Every day I pray that like when I walk to the bus stop, I am safe, because I'm not sure who am I gonna bump into. Like many girls have went through that.
Girls that you know?
Yeah.
That are your age?
Yes. One girl killed herself, and the other one, like, her parents sent her to counseling and stuff so that she could get over the trauma of being raped. She was gang raped.
That's really scary. I think that's unbelievable. Who does this sort of thing?
It's older men and boys my age, like everybody. I live with only my mother, and she does get worried. So there are like other people in the street, so I have to wait for them in order to be safer.
How you doing?
But the minute they arrive carrying huge knives, my priority becomes staying on their good side.
Nice to meet you, brother. Come sit down just here for me, man. So, Mark, so you are Vatos, yeah? You guys are Vatos. Right. Okay. How long have you guys been moving together as a gang then?
Okay, 5 years now.
5 years?
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 18 now.
18?
18 years old.
You're still really young?
Yeah.
Wow. So, do you have a rival gang then?
Yes, we do.
Yeah? What are they called?
Boras Tupa. Yeah, just over the bridge.
So, literally, you're separated by a train track?
Yes.
Yeah. We call our enemy place Coastland.
Coastland. We go there, we are like devil in hell. We dare to kill everyone, rob everyone, destroy everything where they live, as they do here.
Are things ever going to calm down in Kailicha, or will there always be gangs now?
Like,
There's too much blood being shed.
they are spilled.
Even now, while we're still talking, I don't see it stopping, because if you kill my brother and I see you walking on the road, I'll never leave you. You must die. Maybe some of them They can see us. Maybe it's them there because. Can you see? Yeah.
What's happening?
It's there.
That's your enemies there. What's happening? Mark. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I do know the interview's over. They've gone off with their weapons. Mark, what's going on? They're throwing rocks at each other, but now it seems like there's more people turning up with bags, and there could be anything in that. Watch out, Ruhi, watch out. Get it. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. You know what, it's wrong because I'm laughing, and the reason that I'm laughing is because, you know, there's been a million times when I was a kid and, you know, one estate might have a problem with another estate, and it starts like that, you know, kids shouting and throwing stones and whatever. But the fundamental difference here is that they've all got massive machetes in their hands, and it just escalated so quickly from out of nowhere, and where it's going to end up, I don't know.
Very interesting. This film was also a finalist in Rory Peck Awards. That was in 2015. What happened? I mean, you reached the finals, but didn't get the award.
No, but you know, as they say, it's the taking part that matters,
yes,
and to be a finalist, it's wonderful.
Being nominated is...
Yes, being nominated is quite a big thing, and yeah, you know, there was a film that was better than, not better, but it was just a different subject that was more pertinent.
But look, going back at this knife crime in South Africa, see, it must have been quite dangerous for a lady to go around with a camera and amongst these very dangerous people.
Yeah, I mean, we were filming in a township, you know, and as we know, a lot of townships in South Africa still are very dangerous places because they're deprived. There's a lot of unemployment, there's drugs, there's knives, there's guns. So the combination of this creates quite a chaotic situation. But, you know, I quite like filming in these kind of places because I want to put a human face to these statistics and the stories that are behind them. And by accessing the hospital, what happened was we actually went there to make a film about the junior doctors, but we soon realized that we couldn't make the film without getting out into the township itself and meeting the gang members. So when we got out into the township, we met young girls like Inga, whose lives are constantly in danger. She's always in fear of being raped. I mean, she's a 15-year-old girl who fears every day she goes to school. And then on the other hand, you've got these gangs who are quite incredible. I mean, they're young people. These are like 15 to 18-year-olds who haven't got jobs.
What is the motivational factor for these gangs? Must be drug or something.
Well, first and foremost, when apartheid fell, there was a lot promised to black people. But what we found during our filming is that actually most of the black people haven't really benefited in the new South Africa. Especially those who live in townships. So, as I said, they don't get jobs. The education is very basic still. A lot of people don't go to teach in townships. So it's hard for them to get qualified in any decent job. A lot of them work hard. Their parents are away working all day. The children are left on their own. And then there's drugs. There's a lot of drugs in South Africa. There's lots of guns and knives. So the crime, obviously, is, you know, it's rife, really. So I think they've been let down and they've been left behind in this new South Africa, the new rainbow state. So really that's what the film was about, to show how things 20 years on after apartheid hasn't really changed for the new generation of South Africans.
Right. You have made a very interesting, well, all your films are very interesting, but this one about the Islam Unveiled.
Oh, gosh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, Pakistan, Nigeria, and UK. It was for Channel 4.
Yes.
I think you have focused on Egypt, Turkey,
Iran, Malaysia. Yes, the idea behind that was, this was soon after 9/11. So the whole world was interested in Muslims, and particularly in women in Islam. So we decided to make a film to look at Muslim women across the world to try and get an understanding what are Muslim women's lives like.
Right.
So we filmed, you know, as you said, from Nigeria to Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, Iran and Malaysia, looking at different aspects, looking at a young girl's life. For instance, in Iran, we filmed with young girls' coming of age ceremony. And this is where they start to wear the hijab, and they're considered to be women.
Right.
And so there's a whole issue around, you know, what does it take to be a woman? At what age? Well, they were 9 years
13?
old, 9 years old. And there was debate about that, whether 9 was actually a bit too young, because most women don't really come of age until the
Yes.
age of about 11. And then we filmed in Malaysia, where we looked at women who are actually using Islam as a way of empowering women. This is where they're really reading the Quran to see all the rights afforded to women, and they're using that to challenge the patriarchy
Right.
of the country.
And what was your feedback from UK?
You mean people who watched the films? I think they found it fascinating because it did give them a refreshing insight into women. We tried to get away from the stereotypes of
Right.
what Muslim women are supposed to be like, and we wanted to show that it is not just a woman who wears a hijab who is a Muslim woman. Muslim women come in all shapes and sizes, just like Christian or Jewish or Hindu women do, you know. So we were trying to break the stereotypes, and I think on that level it was very interesting for people. And also within the film, what we tried to do was look at what the Quran actually says about women. So we got beyond the hearsay or the interpretation. We took scripts from the Quran to see what does it say about, you know, adultery, or what
Right.
does it say about divorce. So we tried to give a very balanced view of women's lives in the Islamic world.
In your filmmaking career, did you, you've been to dangerous places, but did you really face danger, real danger, anytime?
Do you know, we are...
And how did you get out of it?
Yeah, and we face danger all the time in that you have to be vigilant and alert, because you're going into areas where people may not be too happy about a camera crew coming in, because you know, there is skepticism about the way Western television in particular portrays people in the South, in the developing world. And so you never know where the trouble is going to come. And what we find interesting is it's not always in the war zones that you're at your most dangerous. Of course you are, because if I'm filming in Afghanistan, there is always the possibility of a bomb going off or getting caught in crossfire. But generally the dangers come from very silly, small situations. I think in South Africa, when we're filming with those gangs, that was a dangerous situation. When we're filming in the township, you know, you don't know which person is going to come at you, really. So I think in all the films that I make, I'm always vigilant about what my dangers are. But what we do is we do a risk assessment. We measure what the risks are, and then we find ways of making sure that we don't really bang into it. So far, luckily, I've not been in any really life-threatening situation, because I hope I've done my job well and made sure that we don't actually hit that danger.
Well, on that very positive note, we come to the end of this very interesting program with you. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me again.
We wish you all the good luck. And thank you, viewers, for being with us. And I hope that you have enjoyed the show as much as we have. We wish we had more time to show you the clips. As I said before, she has produced more films than you and I have had breakfast to see. She has touched issues that touches your heart, see. And we want more from her. Hopefully, inshallah, we will have her again one time, and we'll be able to discuss more of her work. Thank you for being with us. Take care. Same time, same channel next week.